You had my curiosity, but now you have my attention.
Hey guys, Julian Green here, and once again, welcome to The Green Room, where we talk about movies, television, and everything in between. Today we're going to be talking about Marvel's new release, Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is a story of this world-renowned neurosurgeon named Dr. Stephen Strange. He's pretty much very arrogant, very egotistical, and he's just an all-around dick. He's living a high life, super rich, until one day he gets to a horrible car accident that takes away the use of his hands. So after spending every penny that he meant trying to fix this ailment, then he ends up turning to Eastern practices, looking for a way to cure himself of this ailment. In this journey, he finds this ancient being called the Ancient One, played by Tilda Swinton, and he embarks on this journey to become a sorcerer, the Sorcerer Supreme.
I've spent so many years peering through time, looking for you.
Now, was I disappointed by this movie? Hell to the no, this movie was amazing. I love Doctor Strange. Let's talk about the man of the hour, shall we? Benedict Cumberbatch, also known as Sherlock in my eyes. This guy has been knocking out of the park with all of his roles that he's been playing lately, and he brings another winner with Stephen Strange. Now, he does a really good job at playing a dick in the first part of the movie, but then later on, he starts to go through this transformation that turns him into the humble doctor that we all know and love. Now, I just gotta say, Benedict Cumberbatch has a presence about him that can be felt all throughout the cosmos. I mean, just that voice. This dude has hands down one of the best voices I've heard since James Earl Jones and has Darth Vader and Mufasa. Now, there's a lot of controversy surrounding Tilda Swinton's character, the Ancient One. See, in the comic book, she was originally supposed to be this Tibetan character, but then after they started making this movie, they decided that they didn't want to go that route because those were racial stereotypes, and I personally agree. But since they switched it to Tilda Swinton, let's just ignore all the controversy and let's just focus on the character. Tilda Swinton is amazing as the Ancient One. Like, it could have been very easy for her to just slip into the role of old ancient mentor that's kind of enigmatic and she doesn't really have to have a personality, but she actually has a personality. She's warm, she's inviting, she even tells jokes, and not just like your basic Marvel quippy quip jokes, but there's a scene like right after that scene where, like, you know, she shows Doctor Strange like everything about the universe that he doesn't know, and he asks, "What's in that tea?" And she just kind of goes, "A little bit of honey," and winks a little bit. I love that line. I just love everything about Tilda Swinton's character, and it was very great to see her just put on this performance. Chiwetel Ejiofor, I hope I got that right. He plays Baron Mordo, and Baron Mordo is pretty much like the mentor slash friend slash partner of Doctor Strange in training. Now, he brings a very great calmness and at the same time he has an intensity about him in this movie. Now, without spoiling anything, this guy goes from 0 to 100 really quick, and just to see his character arc through it, it's very enjoyable to see. And I must say, it reminds me of a certain other Marvel character that I'm not going to say for spoiler reasons, but if you've seen the movie, you guys know exactly who I'm talking about. Mads Mikkelsen plays the villain of the movie. Now, Marvel has this criticism that a lot of their villains aren't really up to snuff, a criticism that I apparently really agree with the exception of Loki and the Winter Soldier, and Alexander Pierce, I think, for Winter Soldier is a pretty good villain. I mean, there really hasn't really been another good Marvel villain. I would say that he is better than most. He is definitely not your Malekith the Dark Elf, he's not your Whiplash, he's not your Ronan the Accuser, but his motivations are very understandable. I just think that they should have gave his character more to do. Maybe a little bit more into his backstory as to why he chose his route, as to why he's being evil in this way. Like, you understand it, but I would like to like kind of get like a little bit more of a backstory in there. But Mads Mikkelsen, as always, he plays Hannibal Lecter, and this guy can pretty much bring on the acting chops. Everybody all around, all the actors all around do a really good job in their roles, and Mads Mikkelsen is just one of the many who pretty much gets in the middle ground of your Marvel villains. Now, let's talk about one of the big highlights of the movie, the special effects. Oh my god. Holy shit! I kind of stole that from Black Nerd because it made me laugh, and it was my reaction too. Honestly, there was some scenes where I was just flat out floored by what special effects they had. It was amazing. Like, I did not know, I can't even talk. Just some of the CGI, it didn't look CGI. I totally bought into the idea that these universes were pretty much like all side by side, and that they were just kind of like folding into themselves. They take you through a couple dimensions, they pretty much flip around the dimension that we're already in. Like, it's hard to explain these special effects without just kind of like going on about what I was seeing. It was like a little bit of Inception, also mixed with a little bit of Harry Potter as well, with the mysticism and the city folding on itself. I was just looking at it like, oh shit, it tripping out. If you're planning on seeing this movie, just know that there's going to be some other people that's going to be seeing the movie on certain things. So just prepare for that. Maybe you might do it yourself. I don't condone it, but hey, do you, baby. Now to hit the bad side of this movie, like this movie is like, for the most part, it's an origin story, and I don't really have anything against origin stories. Honestly, you kind of, in order to introduce a character, you kind of have to tell that origin story at some point, unless we know them very well, and Doctor Strange is a pretty new character, so it kind of requires him to have this origin story. Like, I don't really mind it just as long as you tell it in a very unique kind of way, and when you really strip away all the special effects, you strip away the acting, the story is just very generic. There's this guy, he loses someone or something, he goes on this journey, he gets powers, and now he has to fight a bad guy. The plot is very derivative of a lot of superhero movies in general, but they still have this kind of like unique twist where you know, even though he's Tony Stark, then he pretty much has his own way of becoming humble by the end of it. His story is different than Tony Stark's, but it's still the same, and I hope that makes sense, because now that I say it out loud, it probably doesn't. The whole fight between Doctor Strange and Caecilius, Mads Mikkelsen, it just kind of, like, it would have been better if they would have had some type of pre-existing relationship that kind of led them to this fight, because Doctor Strange is a very reluctant hero, which is one of my favorite stories. It's just that when these two are fighting, there you don't really see that there's a lot at stake. He just wants to kill him. Doctor Strange is just trying to avoid being killed. So there's really not much there. This is very, like, Marvel does really well just pretty much putting their characters front and center and putting the hero's journey first. Another criticism that I have about the movie is that although some of the action sequences were pretty much top-notch, like, the fight scenes are not like very well choreographed, say like The Winter Soldier or Captain America Civil War. These fight scenes, they look cool in some spots, but there was other times where you don't really know what's going on, especially when the dimensions and the world starts to flip and turn all over itself. You're kind of looking just kind of like, whoa, that looks awesome, but what am I looking at? There's also like scenes where Caecilius would just kind of like flip the world and just, you know, just kind of like, I don't know why he did it. Like move his hands a little bit, the world would like just kind of turn and kaleidoscope out. I'm just kind of like, okay, so why is he doing this? Is he going to step into another dimension? Is he going to grab something from that dimension? Nope, just go to the next scene. Don't explain it. It's pretty much the director, Scott Derrickson, just showing that he can do this, just to pretty much introduce you to the idea, but I am a person who wants to know why, so I would like to know why that was happening. All right, and there is a lot of nerdy stuff to unpack in this movie. Like, one of my favorite references in the entire movie is this thing called the Staff of Tribunal. I can't talk. I can say this word. The Staff of the Living Tribunal. Now, for those who don't know, the Living Tribunal is pretty much like the second strongest person in the Marvel Universe. Like, please wrap your head around this. The second most powerful person in the Marvel Universe, just under the one beyond all, who is actually Stan Lee. There's a little fun fact for you. The Living Tribunal is pretty much a god to show that he actually exists in this universe, meaning that even after the Infinity War, there's going to be some super big things to come. There's name drops to other characters in Marvel movies. They start touching on the multiverse. And if you guys are into The Flash, or if you guys are into comic books in general, the multiverse is a very, very big deal. Who knows? Maybe Marvel might implement some of these in a later movie. Who knows? I hope so. All in all, Doctor Strange was a phenomenal movie with a little bit of flaws. The origin story, the narrative is a little bit derivative, but it's still fresh enough and different enough. And they took a risk to make it a pretty much a good movie. Not just a good movie, I think it's a great movie. Alright guys, so have you seen Doctor Strange? Are you planning to see Doctor Strange? If you have, if you are, just let me know in the comment section down below. And if you guys want me to talk about anything else, just let me know. Just remember, I'm a dude in his room talking to a camera. Love you, and I'm out.